Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a pretty simple message that is just a great reminder for all of us. And I know many of us need to see this and understand it. Don't believe them. The narcissist is not doing well. I know that I really think one of the biggest things that people think after the situation ends, I know this is the biggest thing maybe, is that idea within the back of your mind that somehow the narcissist went off and it changed for them. They started behaving differently. The person you saw wasn't really them. They've transformed themselves into something else, and now they're getting it right with somebody else. They're better off in their lives. It's going swell. And what is the primary reason why people tend to believe this or struggle so much with the idea? 99.9% of the issue is this. We tend to believe what we see. Because it's a saying, right? Seeing is believing. But not really. I mean, actually, I'd offer that it's precisely the opposite sometimes. I remember Jesus told Thomas that he's blessed because he saw him and believed, but more blessed are those who don't see and still believe. That's faith, basically. But in the case of the narcissist, things work exactly backwards to what most of reality is. Because the narcissist's entire thing is trying to convince the world and everybody else and themselves, and especially their exes, that life has changed for them. That really is their whole purpose. It's their whole operating procedure. They live, die, or anything else on the concept of people believing that they are something that they are not. Look back on the narcissist when you met them. Ask yourself this question. Was that person the person that they sold you? Were they the person they told you they were with their words? That they sold you this dream, this fantasy of what you were getting? They portrayed a certain personality. They told you they liked certain things. They wanted certain things. Was any of this the truth? Ask yourself that question. Did the narcissist present the truth to you? By definition of a narcissistic relationship, no, they didn't. They lied about who they were. That's how they were so successful, right? You believed in a version of them that wasn't real. That's the whole thing with the narcissist. Never forget that that is the entire driving force with the narcissist. So when you are now believing what you see, it's illogical. If they lied completely to you about who they were, why do you assume now they're not lying to you about who they are now? Why do you think they're not lying to the person they're with about who they are, and their coworkers and acquaintances and new supply sources? And why do you think they're telling the truth now? They prove to you that their mission, goal, agenda, the narcissist's mission in life is to fool the world. That's what they did to us. They came in, presented something that was inauthentic. It never was real. That's a big thing. It never was real. Never. And that was how they hooked us. That's how they hooked people. And if they did all of that, then that's who they are. They're doing that now, and they're going to continue to do that. So when you stop and you look out there and you see this narcissist doing amazing, you think, remember something. That's exactly what they aim to do. That if you believe that, then you have done exactly what they want you to do. You've believed all over again in a lie. They lied to you the first time and we believed it, and you went through hell, right? And then you got out, and then you're believing the lie again, thinking that their life is great. It's not great. It's just not. I don't care what situation you were dealing with. And I'll return to that in a second. As sort of an anecdote, I ran into the narcissist recently. I wouldn't say ran into, I didn't speak, of course. I saw the narcissist out and about, okay? This is just painting a picture of what I dealt with, but I know you can resonate. Whatever situation. When I met the narcissist, she was a relatively attractive person, somewhat, relatively in shape, had her own home, had one child that she'd had for many years, 12, 13 years, from a very old situation. She had a decent job. By all appearances, she was in a decent situation in her life. Should have, on paper, been a decent person to be with. And that's, of course, what was presented to me. So we went through the circus of everything you go through in a narcissistic relationship, found out that what lies beneath the surface is way deeper than what you thought. The person looked on paper like a decent situation. When you get to the bottom of it, they're a nightmare. But here's my point. Fast forward about 3 years later, when I just recently saw this person. Now has another child with another guy that she jumped into that relationship in the blink of an eye after I ended it. She was instantly with this person because he was already sitting there in her life. That's what they do. They cheat. They make backups. If you think your situation wasn't doing that, you're just wrong. They were. So she jumped in immediately. She got pregnant instantaneously, moved in with the person. That went into pure chaos mode. And I knew it would because I knew who she was. Keep in mind, because that's part of this video. I knew what I'd experienced and who she was. So I knew it was going to be the same way with the next person. And it was. She had another child. So now it's 2 children, 2 different people, both totally chaotic, helter-skelter situations. She's also now pretty well broke, from I've heard through the grapevine, pretty well broke, has put on all kinds of weight, looks really terrible. I'm just going to be honest, not saying this to be mean, looks very bad, has multiple kids now with multiple people, bad situations, doesn't have a house anymore, rents an apartment basically, rents a home or a small apartment, I don't know, rents, lost her house few years ago. In the move to be with the new person, they make bad decisions, terrible decisions. And here's my point. In about 3 years' time, this individual has lost almost all her value, almost everything that was there. And even what was there when I met her wasn't authentic either, because it was all lies. It was a smokescreen. But even in that time, her life has gotten a whole lot worse. But if you were a person who just met her, she would portray that life is great. If she's at work, she will portray that life is great. There are many people who might think her life is great just by how she carries herself or by seeing pictures or whatever the case is. I want to tell you that that experience in that situation is just like what you went through. It's just the same. That person's life has gotten worse since they met you. Now I can hear it from the back row. No, Brian, they're still with the person they left me for. They still look attractive, or they still have a nice house, or now they have this, or They look so happy with the person they're with. It looks so good. It looks so good. I want to tell you again, notice the key words. It looks that way. It seems that way. It appears that way. Those are the key words. The optics are telling you one thing that is not fundamentally the truth. You might think, well, how are they still with the person for 2 years? It must be good. Why? Why must it be good? Was it good with you? Did they make it work with anybody before you? Did they make it work with you? Why must it be good? Could it be that that relationship, that situation is still going on because it's toxic? Because that person's getting abused or they're also toxic? And things are really behind the scenes going very, very poorly, but they're going to make it look like it's great. That is the central point of this. The narcissist lives, breathes, eats, sleeps to make things look a way that they're not. Because it's like a parasite looking for a host. That parasite needs blood, right? It needs blood all the time. The narcissist needs supply all the time. And to do that, they need people to think they're something different than they are. If everybody saw the narcissist right out of the gate for exactly what they are, all the supply sources dry up because nobody's going to deal with that. That is the very core essence nature of the narcissist, to make it seem like they're something else. It's what they did with you. That's what they did with me. It's what they've done with everybody in the past and everybody they'll deal with in the future. And to simply hop online, for example, and you shouldn't be looking them up anyway. There's no good to be brought out of this. What you're going to do by keeping up with them online, if you're not healed and really in a good place, even if you are, you really shouldn't. But what you're going to do to yourself is this very thing. You're going to convince yourself that what you see on that person's profile or in those pictures, that's them. And the person you saw and you got to know by their actions and over time, that's not them. That's what social media profiles do. That's what a picture does. That's what seeing a glance of this person at the grocery store while they're walking around with whoever they're with and there's a smile on their face, that image that you see there, that makes you forget everything you saw and experienced. That is precisely the point. You've fallen into a trap all over again if you're thinking to yourself, somehow it's better. Well, it must be better because they're still with the person. Why is that better? Like I said, why? Why do you think that? Things don't have to be good to last. People are in toxic relationships that go on for eons. Have you ever known a couple that might smile in public and fight like cats and dogs behind closed doors? Happens all the time. I got news for you. It's not always, but most of the people who share all these pictures and they're so happy and life's so wonderful, they are usually very troubled behind closed doors. Why do you think that's so important to them that they let the world know everything's so amazing for me all the time? I'm not saying either that you can't post a picture of yourself or out at an event or share your life at all on your social media account. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm saying people who do that incessantly, constantly, there's a void in their lives at the bare minimum. Or they're simply trying to portray an image that doesn't exist. That is exactly what I found. I've watched this carefully, and I've watched other narcissists carefully. In fact, two of the biggest narcissists I know, they've been married for well over a decade. Brian, that proves the point. They changed. That doesn't prove anything. because those situations I know are chaos. These people have cheated. They've rented houses and apartments in other areas to be with other supply. They've been in and out of the house. They've threatened divorce. They've broken up and got back together. They've always got other people in the background. It doesn't matter. It has continued on because it's toxic. They're abusive. The person they're with is being terribly abused, but is putting up with it. And the narcissist is still doing what they want on the side. So this whole thing, guys, it's an illusion. If you were with a person, okay, let's be clear, and you know they were a narcissist. They did the playbook on you. I'll get to that. They did the playbook. They love bombed you and they started to devalue you, and it ended, discarded somehow. And maybe they hoovered or maybe they didn't. And in between, they gaslighted you and they were condescending and cruel, and they did silent treatment, and they dealt with other people, and they did all this stuff and just overall turned your life upside down into a whirlwind. And you pinpointed this was a narcissist. If that happened, I guarantee you with 100% certainty, they're just doing the same thing now, while making you think it's changed. They love nothing more than to make their exes think that they lost out. Yeah, well, it's good now. Look over here. It's good. And so their exes, like many people watching this, can go, why are they getting the narcissist best? What's so great about them? Why couldn't the narcissist get along with them and not me? Ding, 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 ding. They're not. It's because they're not. They're making you think that's the case. That's their goal. That's their whole goal. And like I said, if you buy that, you've bought in the lie not once, but twice. We can understand buying the lie the first time. We didn't know what we were dealing with. They portrayed a whole different side of themselves. It was a toxic entanglement. We had no idea what we got into. But then when we see them for what they are, we have no excuse to then buy the lie a second time and say, well, everything I saw completely, let me just whitewash it and let me look over there. Yeah, they're smiling. They must have changed. It must be great. It must be amazing now. The narcissist changed and they're getting the best version of this person. And it's illogical, guys. It's not true. It's damaging. And it is exactly what the narcissist wants you to think. Under no uncertainty, they did not change. They did not transform. If you dealt with that person, what they showed you is who they are. It's exactly who they are. And they're doing the same things now with the new person. And then after that, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. And all the while, they're going to try to leave this persona to everybody they were with, that they were the problem. They were the reason. Life's good for me now. And that's just to basically further abuse you. You realize that's how the narcissist abuses people after it's ended? If that's happening, you're still letting them abuse you. You're still allowing, and I'm not trying to browbeat people. I'm trying to wake you up so that you can be free from this. It's not true. The person you dealt with showed you who they are. It's still who they are. If it's still going on, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I told you about the people married for ages. Doesn't matter. And I will say this. I mean, I obviously made a lot of mistakes. I got suckered completely by the narcissist. I didn't know anything. I was trauma bonded. I struggled for a good while after that, all that stuff. It was torturous getting over it. But I will say this. Beyond the first maybe couple months where I was so deeply trauma bonded, I never seriously thought to myself, oh, maybe this guy she's now with and pregnant with and all this stuff, like maybe she changed in the blink of an eye radically overnight. She changed everything about herself, and now she's really doing this the right way. I mean, I had to watch the whole 9 yards. the pictures being posted and the knowing her hearing and knowing she'd moved in and she's pregnant and all this stuff. I got the whole 9 yards, okay? I did not believe any of it. Uh, I knew it was a matter of time, not an if, but a when. I knew she would do the same things to this person that she did to me. And from what I can actually tell, she did way worse to him than she did to me. And that's how it often goes. So if anything, they're probably treating the person they're with now even worse than they treated you. If any change happened, it's for the worse, not the better. So disregard the smiles, disregard the profile pictures and the vacation and where they now live and how happy they seem to be and how good, they've had kids with this person, and that means nothing. They got married to this person. That means nothing. It's lasted 10 years. That means nothing. The person you saw is it. And I know we want to see the shoe drop. I know we want perfect verification. We want to see it blow up. And unless we see it blow up, we just believe it was good. I'm telling you, you can free your mind right here and now. You don't need to see that thing explode to know they're still who they are. You don't even need to see it. Just know it's bad. It's lasting for any number of terrible reasons. It's probably chaos. The longer it goes, the worse it is. And it will end eventually. And that person's not getting any version of them that you didn't get. They're getting the same crummy thing. If any change, worse. You don't need, and you may not, and besides, you may not even ever get to see the collapse happen. You got to be watching them pretty carefully to see the collapse happen, right? You may not see it. And they're not going to shout it to the world that it blew up. Because again, that defeats their primary purpose, which is to convince the world their life is better than it is and that they're different than they are. Just put your mind at ease. What you experienced was real. It was really them. Anybody who's willing to treat somebody else that badly is just who they are. They're going to do it to the next person. And it doesn't matter how rich they are, how good looking they are, what kind of house they are, whatever. None of that matters because the narcissist doesn't value anyone. And they don't care about anyone but themselves at the end of the day. And it will end with everyone, no matter how good it is. And even if it doesn't end on paper, they're still married. They're just doing what they want on the side. That person's getting abused, or maybe they're both abusive and toxic, or whatever it is. It's a terrible, horrible situation, probably worse than what you even dealt with. Don't know how much more clearly I can say it. I do hope this helps somebody to understand it's all a lie. Forget what you see with the narcissist. Don't believe them. Things are not going well for the narcissist. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Drop comments below. Come at you with another one soon. Until then, God bless.